The night sky above Earth was calm, but something strange was moving among the stars. In observatories across the world, scientists looked at their screens in shock. A signal was coming from deep space, a voice repeating the same question again and again. "Can you provide for both of us?" The voice whispered through the static. No one knew if it was a distress call, a warning, or a challenge. News spread quickly, filling every channel. Every phone, every street, people gathered in fear and wonder. Some prayed, some celebrated, some panicked. Governments tried to control the story, but the signal kept repeating, stronger each time. The words seemed to carry weight, as if someone, or something, was waiting for an answer. Among the many who listened, Commander Alex Carter sat in silence. He was an astronaut trained for danger, but never for something like this. The voice felt personal, like it was directed straight at him. The sound seemed to echo in his chest, not just in his ears. Alex knew the world had changed forever that night. Within days, the signal became stronger. Radios, televisions, even phones carried the same repeating question: "Can you provide for both of us?" No matter how far people went, they heard it. Children whispered it in schools. Old men muttered it in their sleep. It became a haunting melody inside every human mind. Then one evening, everything shifted. A shadow appeared against the moon, enormous and silent. It was not a meteor, not a satellite, not a human creation. An alien ship had arrived. It did not attack, it did not land. It only hovered above Earth, its surface glowed faintly, covered in strange patterns that seemed alive. The world froze, people watched from rooftops and windows. Pointing at the sky, some screamed, some fell to their knees. Others only stared, unable to believe. The alien ship said nothing, but the question continued inside every mind. Governments called emergency meetings. The military prepared for war. But deep inside, everyone knew this was not a battle, it was something else. A test. At the United Nations, chaos filled the chambers. Leaders shouted, argued, demanded answers, but no one could explain the meaning of the question. Both of us? Who are they talking about? One asked, is it two alien species? Is it humans and them? Is it life and death? Another wondered. No one could agree. The world was lost in confusion. Finally, a decision was made. Someone had to make contact. Someone had to face the unknown. All eyes turned to Commander Alex Carter. He was chosen not because of his rank, but because of his calm, steady nature. He had faced storms in space, he had lost friends, he had endured silence among the stars. If anyone could carry humanity's voice, it was him. When Alex entered the command center, the air was heavy. Screens showed the giant alien ship above the Earth. Unmoving, scientists whispered data. Generals barked orders. But all sound faded when Alex stepped forward. He felt the weight of billions of lives pressing down on his shoulders. The signal grew louder in his head, the words repeating with a rhythm like a heartbeat. "Can you provide for both of us?" Then it happened. The ship pulsed with light, and Alex froze. A voice clear and cold spoke directly into his mind. Not through speakers, not through devices, but inside his thoughts. "Commander Alex Carter," the voice said. "You have been chosen to answer." His body trembled, though he stood tall in front of the others. The alien knew his name, his identity, his soul. The voice was not human, yet it carried wisdom and sadness. "You must prove that your people are ready," it continued. "A test will decide your future." Everyone around Alex stared at him, unable to hear what he heard, but Alex could not explain. He could only listen. The alien spoke again, more firmly this time. "You will show if humanity can provide for both, or fall into silence forever." The ship glowed brighter, filling the skies with strange light. Cities below were bathed in a silver glow. Shadows stretching across oceans and mountains, people gasped as the stars seemed to vanish, leaving only the alien ship above. The world was no longer Earth alone. It was a stage for something greater. Alex clenched his fists, knowing he could not refuse. For the first time in history, humanity was being tested not by itself, but by something far beyond. As the voice faded, a final whisper echoed in his head. "Your trial begins soon." Alex lifted his eyes to the ship, his heart heavy but steady. Whatever the alien wanted, whatever both meant, he knew one thing. Earth's future depended on him. And above the quiet planet, the alien ship waited, silent, watching, and patient. The alien ship floated in silence above Earth, unmoving like a mountain hanging in the sky. The world was holding its breath, waiting for something, waiting for a voice. waiting for a sign, and then it came. Not through radios, not through machines, but inside the mind of Commander Alex Carter. The voice was calm, powerful, and yet filled with sadness. Human, it said. Your kind has reached the edge of its limits. But the question remains, can you provide for both of us? Alex stood frozen inside the command center, his face pale, his eyes fixed on the glowing screens. The generals and scientists looked at him with confusion. They could not hear the words, only Alex could. And in that moment, he realized he was chosen not by humans, but by something far older, far greater. The weight of the world pressed down on him, but he did not flinch. What do you mean? Alex whispered, his voice shaking. No one in the room understood his words. They thought he was speaking to himself. But the alien answered clearly in his thoughts. There is a trial, a path your people must walk if you succeed. Humanity will rise if you fail, Earth will fall silent. The words felt heavy, like they were carved into his soul. Still, Alex gathered his courage. What do you want from us? The voice grew softer, like a whisper carried by the wind. You will enter a place we create, a world shaped from our memory and our design. You will face trials that will test not only strength, but compassion, not only survival, but sacrifice. Your people must prove they can provide not just for themselves, but for others as well. This is what it means to provide for both of us. Alex's breath caught. It was not just about survival, it was about unity, about carrying a burden greater than one species alone. The alien continued. We are Seraphis, the last of a people older than your stars. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek war, we seek an answer. If your kind can provide, then humanity and Seraphis will live together, stronger, wiser, beyond limits. If not, then the silence will claim you as it claimed countless others before. The command center erupted in noise. Scientists shouted about strange readings. The generals demanded answers. The world leaders argued on screens. But Alex was quiet, his mind locked with Seraphis. He felt the alien's presence deep inside him, like a current of light and shadow flowing through his blood. It was terrifying, yet strangely calm. This was not an enemy, but it was not a friend either. It was something different, something unknowable. The alien spoke again. You will not go alone. A group of your people will join you in the trials. They will represent humanity. They will show your true nature. Together, you must survive, you must trust, you must sacrifice. Or you will fail. Alex nodded slowly, his voice trembling. And if we succeed? The ship above Earth pulsed with light, casting silver beams across oceans and cities. Then humanity will rise beyond its limits and the question will finally be answered. Alex turned to the generals, his face pale but determined. They want a team, he said firmly. A group to face something bigger than us. The generals exchanged worried looks. Some shouted objections, some demanded to attack the ship. But Alex raised his hand, his voice steady. No, this is not a battle. This is a test. If we refuse, humanity is finished before it even begins. In the days that followed, the world held its breath again. Volunteers came forward. Soldiers, scientists, explorers, men and women from different nations. Each wanted to prove themselves. But Seraphis spoke once more, choosing carefully. You cannot choose by strength alone, the alien warned. Your kind must be tested not in power but in heart. And so, the final team was chosen. A mix of minds, souls, and stories, not just warriors, but humans with courage. When the day came, the skies darkened. The ship lowered a beam of silver light onto the ground. Vast and blinding, Alex and his chosen team stepped forward, their hearts pounding, their families watching from afar. The world stood still as they entered the light. Their bodies lifted, weightless, drawn toward the alien ship above. In the last moment before the light swallowed him, Alex heard Seraphis whisper, Your trial begins now, human. Show us if you can provide for both of us. And in an instant, the earth vanished from their eyes, the stars twisted, the sky shattered, and Alex and his team fell into a new world. A world unlike anything they had ever seen before. A world shaped by alien hands, waiting to test the very soul of humanity. Alex Carter opened his eyes, and the world around him was nothing like Earth. The sky burned red, filled with swirling clouds that moved like waves. The ground cracked beneath his boots, dry and lifeless, stretching endlessly. The air was heavy, hot, and dry, each breath scratching his throat. He knew immediately. This was the place Seraphis had promised. The first trial. Around him, the team stumbled to their feet. Dr. Elena Ruiz, the biologist, coughed as dust filled her lungs. Sergeant Miles, the soldier, scanned the horizon with sharp eyes, his hand already gripping his weapon. Then there was Nora, the engineer, quiet and focused, her gaze moving across the alien sky, and two others, May, a young linguist, and Daniel, a medic. Each had been chosen not for strength alone, but for what they could bring together. The land before them was endless desert. No rivers, no plants, no animals, only sand and rock. The sun above was blinding yet strange. Too close, too large, too heavy. The team realized quickly what the first test was. Survival without food, without water, without hope. Miles cursed under his breath. We're being thrown into hell. But Alex steadied his voice. No, this is the trial. Seraphis wants to see how we act, not alone, but together. Elena knelt down, her hands brushing the cracked earth. If there's any sign of life, it'll be below the surface, but the soil was dead, lifeless like ash. The group looked at one another. Fear rising already, doubt began to creep in. Hours passed, and the sun never moved. The heat grew stronger. Their lips cracked, their bodies weak. Daniel checked their pulses, his face grim. We won't last long like this. We need water, or we're finished. Alex tried to stay calm, but he could feel the same despair. The voice of Seraphis echoed faintly inside his mind, cold and warning. Provide for both, or perish. Miles grew impatient. This is pointless, he snapped. We should each fend for ourselves. We don't even know if this test is real. Maybe this is all a trick. His eyes burned with anger, his voice harsh, but Alex stepped forward, standing tall. No, that's exactly what Seraphis wants to see. If we break apart now, we fail. We must stay together. Miles glared, but said nothing, his fists clenched tight. By nightfall, if it could be called night, for the sky never turned dark, they stumbled across a canyon. At the bottom lay strange plants. Glowing faintly blue, Elena rushed forward. Examining the roots, these hold water, but the liquid could be poison. I'll need time to test it. Thirst burned their throats. Their bodies screamed for relief, but Alex stopped them. We wait. No one drinks until we know. It was then that betrayal came. As the others rested, Miles crept to the plants, his hands tearing at the glowing roots. He drank deeply, ignoring Elena's warnings. Ignoring Alex's orders, the liquid dripped down his chin, glowing faintly against his skin. For a moment he looked relieved, stronger. Then his body convulsed, his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed to the ground. Daniel rushed to him, checking his pulse. He's alive, but weak. Whatever he drank is changing him. The group watched in fear, Miles's veins glowing faintly under his skin. The lesson was clear. Survival was not about selfishness. It was about patience and trust. Alex clenched his jaw, looking at the others. This is the test. Seraphis wants to see if we can resist fear, resist hunger, resist betrayal. We provide for both, or we all die. The desert shook with a sudden roar. The ground split open, a storm of sand and fire rising into the air. A monstrous shape emerged, its body tall as a tower. Its limbs sharp like blades, its eyes glowed the same blue as the plants. The trial was no longer about thirst alone. It was about survival against the impossible. Move, Alex shouted, pulling Nora aside as the creature struck. The team scattered, sand whipping around them like knives. Elena clutched the samples of the glowing plant, desperate to protect them. Daniel dragged Miles's limp body through the dust. May screamed, barely dodging a swing of the beast's arm. The team was breaking apart, chaos filling the air, and then the voice of Seraphis thundered across the sky. You must provide for both, not just for yourselves, but for all. Alex's mind raced, his body aching, his throat dry. The answer was clear. Survival was not about fighting the beast, but about working as one. If they acted as individuals, they were doomed. But if they united, they had a chance, he called out, his voice cutting through the storm. Together, now! Nora, distract it with light. Elena, use the plants. Daniel, protect Miles. May, find its weakness. For a moment, the team hesitated, fear locking their bodies. But then they moved, trusting him. Trusting each other, Nora triggered a flare. Blinding the beast, Elena threw the glowing roots into its open wounds. May screamed in alien words she barely understood. Distracting it together, they turned chaos into survival. The creature roared, staggering back, its body collapsing into the sand. The storm settled, the desert grew silent. The team gasped for air. Their bodies trembling, but they were alive. Alex stood at the center, his chest heaving, his voice steady. This is what Seraphis wants, not strength, not selfishness, but unity. We survive together, or we do not survive at all. Above them, the red sky pulsed, the same silver light shining down from the heavens. The voice of Seraphis whispered once more. You have taken the first step, but many remain. Prepare yourselves, for the trials ahead will demand more than you know. The desert faded, the ground shifting beneath their feet. The team fell again into darkness, not knowing where the next trial would lead. When the desert vanished, Alex Carter and his team felt themselves falling into darkness. The sand, the sky, the monstrous beast, all dissolved like smoke. Then light returned, soft and strange. Not like the burning sun of the desert, but like the glow of a dream. The team landed on solid ground. But it was not Earth, not any world they knew. They stood inside a vast forest, the trees black as stone, their leaves glowing faint blue. The air smelled sweet but heavy, like breathing inside a dream. Elena touched one of the trees, her fingers glowing faintly from the leaves. This place is alive, she whispered. Nora scanned the shadows uneasy. Alive, but watching us. Daniel carried the weakened Sergeant Miles on his shoulder, the soldier's veins still glowing from the poisoned water. May stayed close to Alex, her eyes darting nervously. Do you feel it? Something's here. Something's near. Alex nodded, his body tense. The forest felt different from the desert. It was not a place of survival. It was a place of judgment. The voice of Seraphis filled the air, low and deep. Now you will face the test of unity. You must learn to see each other, not as parts, but as one whole. The words echoed through the glowing trees, and then silence returned, heavy and endless. They walked deeper into the forest, shadows shifting around them. Whispers floated in the air, voices of people they once knew calling their names. Daniel froze when he heard his daughter's voice. Soft and pleading, Nora heard her dead brother, whispering secrets from the grave. Even Alex stopped when he heard the voice of his old commander, the man who had died saving him in space. The forest was playing with their minds, bending memory into illusion. Don't listen, Alex said firmly, his jaw tight. It's not real, it's testing us. But the voices grew louder. Pulling at their hearts, Elena clutched her head, tears falling. It feels real, she whispered. Too real, Miles. Weak but awake, groaned in pain. Maybe it is real. Maybe this is punishment. The group staggered forward, struggling against their own memories. Then in a clearing, they saw it. A child, small, fragile, with silver skin and eyes like stars. The child looked at them with quiet fear, its voice trembling. Help me. The team froze, no one moved. Is this another illusion? Nora asked, her voice hard. May shook her head, stepping closer. No, this feels different. This one is alive. The child reached out a hand, its voice soft and broken. Please protect me. Alex's heart tightened, the meaning of Seraphis's words returning to him. Provide for both, not just yourself, not just your kind, but for others too. He stepped forward, kneeling before the child. We'll protect you, he said firmly. The child's silver eyes filled with tears, and for a moment the forest grew quiet. But then the shadows stirred. From between the trees, creatures emerged, their bodies thin and sharp, their faces twisted like masks. Their eyes glowed the same blue as the leaves, and their mouths opened in silent screams. Dozens of them moved closer, surrounding the team and the child. May gasped, clutching the alien child close. They want him, they're here for him. Alex raised his voice, steady and strong. Then we stand together, no one breaks, no one runs. The fight was chaos. The creatures attacked with clawed hands and shrieking cries. Nora swung her torch of light, burning their shadows. Elena used samples of the glowing leaves to create smoke that blinded them. Daniel shielded Miles with his own body, refusing to let him fall, and Alex fought like a man possessed, striking back, calling orders, keeping them alive. But the forest's illusions grew worse. Each creature's face shifted into someone they loved, someone they feared. Daniel saw his daughter's face twisted into a monster. Elena saw her father reaching out with clawed hands. May saw her mother crying for her. The team hesitated, their hearts torn between truth and lies. Alex shouted above the madness, Listen to me, they're not real. Only the child is real. Focus, protect him. Together. His words cut through the fear. And one by one, the team pushed past the illusions. They fought as one, covering each other, trusting each other. For the first time since the trials began, they felt like a single force, not individuals, but one whole. When the last creature fell into dust, the forest grew still again. The glowing leaves dimmed. The whispers faded and silence returned. The alien child looked at them with shining eyes. "You chose unity," it said softly. "You chose to protect, not just survive." The child touched Alex's hand and he felt warmth, a pulse of energy. The weight of Seraphis's presence filled his mind once more. "You are learning," the voice said, deep and resonant. "But the path ahead is harder, the burden heavier. Unity is fragile, and many will seek to break it." The forest dissolved, the glowing trees vanishing into nothing. The ground crumbled beneath their feet, and once again they fell. This time, they did not fall alone. The alien child fell with them, its silver eyes wide with fear, and Alex realized the test had changed. The trial was no longer about their survival alone. It was about carrying another life, one that depended on their every choice. The fall ended with a crash of light. Alex Carter and his team landed on solid ground again, gasping, their bodies aching, their hearts still racing from the forest. But this new place was different. They stood in the ruins of a great city, broken towers stretching into the sky, shattered bridges hanging like bones, streets silent and empty. The air was heavy with the smell of dust and something older, something forgotten. The alien child stood among the ruins, its silver eyes wide, its small body trembling. Daniel, still carrying the weakened Miles, asked softly, "What is this place?" The child lowered its head, its voice quiet. "This was my home." The team froze, staring at the broken city. Nora whispered, "You mean, this is where Seraphis came from?" The child nodded slowly, sadness in its voice. "We were many once, now we are few. Almost none." Alex felt the weight of the words sink into his chest. This was not just a test, this was history. Seraphis was not only watching them, it was showing them its own past, its own fall. Elena studied the ruins, her voice soft. "This place, it died, like a memory turned to stone." The child looked at her. "Yes, and the question remains, will your world die too? Or will it carry what we could not?" The team moved through the ruins. Statues of strange alien figures lay broken, their faces half buried in the dust. Faded murals showed images of stars, of unity, of civilizations rising and falling. But the deeper they went, the darker the images became. Paintings of fire, war, and betrayal covered the walls. May touched one of them, whispering, "They destroyed themselves." The child nodded again. "We could not provide, not for ourselves, not for others." We fell into silence. Seraphis's voice rumbled through the air, deeper than thunder. "Do you understand now, human? Do you see the truth?" Alex raised his head, answering silently in his mind. "You want us to learn from your mistakes," the alien voice replied. "Yes, we ask not only if you can survive, but if you can carry what we could not. Can you provide for both of us, our legacy and your future? Together." The team looked at one another, the meaning finally clear. It was not only about water, food, or fighting monsters. It was about responsibility. If they succeeded, they would not only save themselves, they would inherit the weight of an entire species. If they failed, Earth would fall as Seraphis's world had fallen. But the ruins did not stay quiet. The ground trembled, walls cracked, and shadows began to stir again. Figures emerged from the broken streets, tall and thin, their faces twisted into echoes of the lost Seraphis. They were not alive, but memories turned into monsters. The child gasped, clutching Alex's arm. "They are echoes of my people, what is left of them. They will not let us go." The creatures attacked, their cries filled with sorrow and rage. The team fought desperately, but these shadows were different. Every strike passed through them. Every weapon felt weak. Nora shouted in frustration. "We can't kill memories, they just come back." Alex realized the truth. This trial was not about strength. It was about acceptance. He raised his voice, calling to his team. "Don't fight them, understand them. They're not enemies. They're what Seraphis lost. We can't destroy them, we must carry them." The team hesitated, but slowly they lowered their weapons. Daniel stepped forward, speaking gently. "We see you. We hear you." Elena placed her hand on the ground, whispering, "Your pain will not be forgotten." The echoes froze, their twisted faces softening, their cries turning to whispers. Then, one by one, they dissolved into silver light, drifting into the sky like stars returning home. The city grew quiet again. the ruins glowing faintly as if awakened. The alien child looked at them, its silver eyes shimmering. "You understand now?" it said softly. "To provide for both means to carry the past and the future, not only your own but others as well." Alex knelt before the child, his voice steady. "Then we will carry it. We will not repeat your mistakes." Seraphus's voice filled the air once more. "You have uncovered the truth, but knowing is not enough. The greatest trial still waits ahead, one that will demand everything you are." The ruins began to shake, towers collapsing, streets breaking apart. The ground opened beneath their feet. Pulling them down again, the child clung to Alex, fear in its glowing eyes. "Don't let go," it whispered. "Don't let me fall." Alex held the child tightly, his voice firm. "I won't. We carry this together." The city dissolved into light, and once more, the team was cast into darkness. But this time the silence felt heavier, the air colder. They knew the next trial would not only test their strength or unity, it would demand sacrifice, the kind that could break even the strongest heart. The fall seemed endless. Alex and his team tumbled through blackness, clutching one another. Their screams drowned in the silence of Seraphus's strange world. When they landed, there was no pain, only emptiness. The ground beneath them was smooth and white, like glass stretching forever into nothing. No sky, no walls, no shadows, only a blank, endless plain. The alien child stood at Alex's side, its silver eyes glowing faintly. "This is the last trial," the child whispered, trembling. "The place where choices decide everything." The voice of Seraphus filled the void. Deep and heavy. "Human, you have carried strength, unity and understanding, but the final test is sacrifice. Can you give what you fear to lose most to provide for both of us?" The team gathered, their bodies bruised but their spirits fierce. Miles leaned weakly against Daniel, whispering, "What sacrifice? We've already given so much." Elena narrowed her eyes. "It won't be food or strength or even knowledge. It will be something deeper." Alex clenched his fists, his heart pounding. He knew Seraphus was not asking for a battle. It was asking for something more personal, something no weapon could fight. Suddenly before them a shape appeared. It was a great mirror of light taller than any tower, its surface shining like water within the mirror. Each of them saw visions of Earth, their families, their homes, their dreams. Nora gasped, tears filling her eyes as she saw her little brother waving from behind the glass. May whispered, "It's showing us what we love most." The alien voice spoke again, slow and grave. "To carry the legacy of Seraphus, one of you must give up what you love most. You must choose, or you all will fall." The team froze. Hearts torn, no one spoke because the meaning was too heavy. If they wanted humanity to survive, if they wanted to prove they could carry both futures, one of them would have to let go of their greatest bond. Forever. Elena shook her head, her voice breaking. "This isn't fair. This is cruel." The alien child lowered its gaze, whispering, "It is the only way. Seraphus demands proof of your heart." Miles coughed, his body weak, his face pale. "I should be the one," he said softly. "I'm dying already. Maybe this is my chance to give something back." Daniel grabbed his shoulder, shaking his head. "No, don't you dare. You're my brother. You don't get to decide this alone." Alex stood silent, watching his friends, watching their fear inside the mirror. He saw his own reflection, his sister back on Earth, waiting, smiling, her faith in him shining like a light. His chest tightened, his throat burned. He understood the test. It wasn't about fighting. It wasn't about survival. It was about the willingness to carry pain. Seraphus's voice rumbled again. "Who will give? Who will carry both futures with a broken heart?" The team stood together, but no one stepped forward. Finally, Alex spoke, his voice steady, though his hands shook. "I will." The others turned to him in shock. "No." Nora cried, "You've led us this far, you can't throw yourself away." Alex met her gaze, his eyes firm. "I'm not throwing myself away. I'm proving that we can give, that we can carry pain, because if we can't, then everything we've done means nothing." He stepped toward the mirror, his reflection growing clearer. His sister's face smiled at him, her voice whispering across the glass, "Don't go." His knees almost buckled, his heart screamed at him to stop, but he pressed his hand to the glowing surface. "I love you," he whispered, "but I must carry this weight. For both of us." The mirror cracked, a shattering sound that echoed through the void. The glass dissolved into light, flooding across the empty plain. The alien child clutched Alex's arm, tears of silver streaming from its eyes. You chose to give, you chose to carry both. Seraphis' voice rose, powerful and endless. Human, you have passed the final trial. You have proven that your kind can hold what we could not. You are ready to provide for both of us. The endless plane shook. Breaking apart, the team fell again, but this time, they were not afraid. The white void faded, replaced by a vision of Earth, oceans shining, forest green, cities glowing with light. But behind it, the broken world of Seraphis shimmered too, its ruins rising like a shadow. Two worlds bound together, one future tied to another. Alex stood, trembling but alive. His friends surrounded him, holding him up, their faces wet with tears. He had given up the bond that meant most to him, but he had given humanity a chance. The child looked at him with glowing eyes, whispering, "Now, you will see the true choice, the final door, where your sacrifice will be tested again." The ground split open before them, revealing a stairway of light. The team looked down, their hearts pounding. They knew this was the end. The last step, the last trial, the final judgment. The stairway of light stretched before them, glowing like a path carved through the heart of the universe. Alex and his team stood at its edge, their breaths shallow, their eyes locked on the unknown below. The alien child clutched Alex's hand, whispering, "This is the last door. Beyond it lies the truth you came for." But Seraphis' voice rolled across the sky like thunder. "Be warned, human. The choice you make here will not only decide your fate, but the fate of your entire species, step by step." They descended, the light wrapping around them. The deeper they went, the colder the air became, and the silence grew heavy. Finally, they reached the bottom, where a vast chamber opened before them. In the center of the chamber stood two gates, one shining with golden fire, the other black as endless night. The gates pulsed with strange energy, each one humming with a different rhythm, like two hearts beating out of sync. The child pointed to them, its silver eyes dim. "One gate leads to your world, safe, whole, untouched. Your people will thrive, but Seraphis will fade. Our history erased forever." It turned to the second gate, its small hands trembling. "The other binds your world to ours. Your people will carry our memory, but you will also carry our scars, our burdens, and our endless fight to survive." The team froze, the weight of the choice sinking into their hearts. Nora shook her head, anger rising. "This isn't a choice, it's a trap. They're asking us to give up something no matter what we choose." Elena whispered, "If we save only ourselves, we prove we are selfish. If we carry both worlds, we risk destroying our future." Daniel gritted his teeth, his arm wrapped around Miles. "This is what Seraphis wanted all along, to see if we can give beyond survival." Alex stared at the two gates, his mind spinning. In the golden light he saw Earth as it could be. Thriving cities, children laughing, a future unbroken by war or loss. In the black gate he saw the ruins of Seraphis woven with humanity's own path. Stronger, harder but filled with shadows. A future where every step forward carried weight. His heart ached because both choices were impossible. And yet one had to be made. Seraphis' voice rumbled again. "You cannot stand between. You cannot delay. You must choose now." The ground shook, the gates pulsed brighter. Time slipping away, his team turned to him, waiting, trusting, their eyes filled with fear but also hope. Nora whispered, "Alex, whatever you choose." "We follow." The alien child stepped closer, silver tears streaking its cheeks. "You said you would not let me fall," it whispered, its voice breaking. "If you choose the golden gate, I will vanish. My people will vanish forever. Will you still hold me then?" Alex's chest tightened, his sacrifice still burning inside him. He thought of his sister, the bond he had already given up, the hole it left in his heart. He thought of Earth, safe and whole, untouched by the mistakes of others. But then he thought of Seraphis, the ruins, the voices of the lost, the lesson they had fought so hard to understand. He stepped forward, his hand outstretched. "The safe path," he whispered, "would be easier, but it would also be selfish. Humanity cannot grow if it only protects itself. We must carry more. We must carry both." His palm pressed against the black gate, its surface cold and alive with energy. Light exploded across the chamber, shaking the walls, ripping through the air. The golden gate shattered into dust. Vanishing into the void, the black gate opened wide, pulling them forward in a storm of light and shadow. The team cried out, but Alex's voice cut through the roar. Hold on, together we carry this together. The world shifted, folding into itself. When they opened their eyes, they were no longer in Seraphis's realm. They stood on Earth again, but the sky shimmered with silver light. The air heavy with something new. Mountains bore strange markings. Rivers whispered with voices not their own. And stars above pulsed with alien rhythm. Earth was still Earth, but it was bound now. Tied forever to Seraphis, the alien child stood before them, its silver eyes brighter than ever. "We live within you now," it said softly. "Our memory, our struggle, our hope. Your people will never walk alone again. But neither will they ever walk without weight." Seraphis's final voice echoed in the sky, deep and eternal. "You have chosen to carry both. Your strength is not in survival, but in sacrifice, in unity, in memory. Humanity will not only live, it will endure beyond limits." Beyond stars, the light faded. The world quieted and the gates were gone. The team stood together, broken but unbowed. Their eyes fixed on the future. Alex raised his gaze to the sky, whispering, "We will not fail you. We will carry you." And for the first time, the stars seemed closer. As if listening, as if watching, the journey was over. But humanity's story had just begun.